Shabbat Shalom to everyone. So we take a few moments before we read the text of the Torah to try to better connect to it, understand what the lessons and how it speaks to us each year as the words stay the same, but the way they impact our lives change each and every year. As I mentioned last night during the announcements, Sunday evening marks the first day of the month of Elul, which begins our final month in our calendar. And then on Monday morning, we'll hear the blast of the Shofar for the very first time. Tekiah, Shivarim, Truah, and a final Tekiah, the 1, 3, 9, 1 order of the notes that we call each and every day for the shofar. That loud blast startle us, pushing us to begin thinking about the parts of our life that have fallen short in this past year and who we want to become in the year to come. We hear the blast of the shofar each and every morning except on Shabbat during this entire month of Elul, forcing us to confront and begin making the changes that we know are necessary for each of us to become the best versions of ourselves. And as we continue reading this fifth book of the Torah, Devarim, known in English as Deuteronomy, there is no shortage of specific laws. In fact, just this morning, 41 mitzvot are found in this morning's parsha. Despite all of the specific commandments that we find in this morning's parsha, it also uses a more general instruction. When the Torah reading this morning says, "Do what is right and just in the sight of the Lord, our God." It's the opposite ideal that most of this parsha and most of Deuteronomy seem to try to instill in each and every one of us. How are we supposed to balance and uphold the need to observe these very specific commandments and then the general precept to do what is right and good in the sight of God? The great Rabbi Akiva taught us that the good refers to the sight of heaven, whereas the right is in the sight of other people. Rabbi Ishmael is said to have disagreed with Rabbi Akiva, claiming that all matters is the sight of God. And the great Talmudic scholar who taught at JTS, where Rabbi Kornsgold, Chazan Osterklein, and I were all ordained, came up with a different understanding to this. And he said that which is good in the sight of heaven is automatically good in the eyes of humanity. I've always found this understanding to be personally powerful. My theology of God is that God must be all good and all just. Therefore, anything that God expects of us or expects of me must also be viewed as good for humanity. In his Torah commentary, Ramban notes that the Torah could not list each and every possible ethical or unethical behavior in society. Therefore, it provides us numerous specific examples and then the general language to do what is right and good in the sight of God. Ramban claims that this instruction leads to the spirit of compromise and generosity, causing one to be known as a kind and perfect person. Rabbi Elliot Dorff therefore uses this verse and Ramban's commentary as the title of his book, To Do the Right and Good, a Jewish approach to modern social ethics, which was required reading for me to apply to rabbinical school, actually. Our world has so much brokenness, hate, and evil. And while each of us cannot change every single part of our world, we are obligated to change ourselves for the better. Last year, as we were preparing for the High Holy Days, as we're going to do this year, we led a series of classes to prepare each of us. And the class I taught last year was about Teshuva, and it focused on why real change, real Teshuva, does not happen quickly. Rav Kook wrote that for Teshuva to be lasting and to be effective, it should be what he called gradual Teshuva. That's why we have the entire month of Elul, before Rosh Hashanah, to determine what we need to focus on, and then to slowly make those changes in our life. We get to work on it. We get to correct it and try again until our behavior becomes normative over this next month, so that when we arrive at Rosh Hashanah, we're already well down the path of improving who we are. This is effective Teshuva, and why Rav Kook implores us, don't make sudden changes, make gradual Teshuva. In that same class, we looked at one of the most famous songs by Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, in which he delivers, I believe, to be perhaps the best sermon ever for the month of Elul. The chorus of that song includes the words, and if I gave this as a sermon, you would see why. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could be any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. As we prepare for this final month of the year and evaluate our behavior over this past year, keep in mind that Teshuva takes time, so don't delay in beginning that process. Don't worry about changing other people. Rather, focus on who you are personally. Look in that mirror and make your own changes. And as our Parsha reminds us this morning, do what is right and good in the eyes of God, so that each of us is worthy of divine blessing. Shabbat Shalom. As I said, we'll continue with the Torah reading this morning, Parshat Re'eh, which is found on page 1076. Page 1076. We invite those who are having honors this morning to come sit in the open seats to the left of the bima, as we'll call you up